Today I'll be talking about how I monetized my modeling hobby while building out a career in tech. And my hope is, even if you aren't interested in modeling, you'll be able to take some tips and tricks from this video and apply it to what you are passionate about and start to think about how you might monetize your hobbies and interests. Speaking as someone who had no knowledge or experience in the professional modeling industry when I started, one thing that held me back for a while was, first of all, not knowing how to start, and second of all, not knowing how much time I'd have to dedicate to this new business. That leads me to my first point, which is to get a sense of how much time we need to dedicate per week. Sometimes we're hesitant to commit because we don't know how much time or resources we need to commit in order to succeed. As I mentioned, this certainly held me back for a few months, but one thing I kept telling myself was, I'll have no idea how much time I'll need to commit if I don't just start and do some research. And that's how I decided to just take the first step and start researching agencies in my area and start figuring out what materials I needed rather, to get signed as a model. Even then, I really had no idea how much time modeling would take. And that's something I kind of figured out as I went along in the process. Part of me wanted to be really busy with modeling because that's how I could kind of gauge whether I was succeeding or not. The other part of me kind of wondered if I would be able to keep up with my traditional 9-to-5 job. But I felt better knowing that I had some flexibility if needed because I had saved up some PTO days, and I'm lucky enough to be a part of a company where I can, for the most part, use them whenever I need or want. So as far as the actual time it takes for me to dedicate toward modeling right now, it really varies person by person, but for me right now, it consists of castings, which are roughly 2 to 6 hours a week, depending on how many castings I get. Meetings with my agents, which are pretty infrequently. I meet with them probably once every quarter, and we meet for like 30 to 45 minutes. I also invest in my portfolio through test shoots. I try to do 2 a year. I'll do more if I can find a photographer to do a trade for print with. I've done 2 so far this year, and they usually take half a day on a weekend. So a huge part of my time commitment lie in castings. Most of my castings ask for video submissions. For those who don't know, my agency submits me for any roles that might fit my profile. As part of my package material, they took digitals, which are basic photos that show my face in different angles and just what my body looks like. They took my measurements and they sent over my portfolio. I think we also did a video introduction for me. So all of those items are part of the package they probably send to the client. Then the casting director or the client sends back a list of names that they want video auditions from. So if I make the cut, then my agency sends me an email and says, hey, can you send in a video audition for this client? I usually get 1 or 2 days to send in my casting tapes, and I try to get them done as soon as possible. Sometimes I would get them during work, so then I just go into a conference room, I set up my tripod, and I film my casting tape. It usually takes 30 to 45 minutes, usually no more than 45 minutes to film a casting tape. During the busy season, which is usually the spring-summer season for me, I might get between 1 to 4 castings a week. End to end, one casting might take 1 to 1.5 hours because I have to get ready and then I have to film the casting and then I have to edit it all together and upload and submit. It's usually easier if I can get 1 to 2 in the same afternoon and then film them all at once. So I batch create and then batch edit. I might also get some in-person castings, which might take 1 to 2 hours, but I haven't gotten them during work yet. If I do, I'm ready to block my calendar. And again, I am quite lucky to be working on a team where if we have important appointments, then we have that flexibility to leave and then make up the work later if we need to. So the other big chunk of time I mentioned was test shoots. Part of being a model is building out our portfolios, and test shoots are generally self-organized, but if we're assigned with an agency, our agency might connect us with a photographer. If you're a freelance model, you might shop around for photographers based on what types of clients you want to work with and which photographers have worked with which clients. Or maybe you can take a look at other models' Instagrams who have worked with the clients you want to work with and see what photographers they've shot with to build the portfolio that essentially if model needs to book what client you want to book. If you don't monetize right away, that's okay also. The way I see it, I really like what I'm doing and I would be willing to do this for free. In college, I loved taking pictures with other photographer friends, and I wanted to do it as much as I could. It took me a while to monetize, and I'm very open about the fact that I am still working toward booking jobs regularly. So monetization might take a while, and if you're a model, it really depends on your agency, what market you're in, and how well you might also be able to book jobs yourself. I talk a little bit about booking your own jobs in this video, and I'll link it down below with the appropriate timestamp. But if what you're monetizing is not modeling, I would say it really depends on how quickly you can get your business up and running and how quickly you can find your clients. There's a chance that I won't be able to make modeling a regular stream of income, but I'll be proud of myself for trying to monetize my hobby. People do hobbies for free all the time, and if I can't make a regular income from mine, I'm happy that I give it my all and I won't have any what ifs. Not to mention, I will also have picked up some skills like advocating for myself, putting myself out there, knowing what it's like to work with an agency, and so on. In short, I will have built experiences and relationships on which I can look back fondly. I think it also makes for a much more interesting conversation with people. For example, if I meet someone who works a traditional 9-to-5, but I also learn that they're a huge butterfly hobbyist, and every summer they go to Peru to study butterflies, I want to learn so much more about this person and how they got into it and what they do exactly. So if you have a hobby you're really passionate about, I hope this video inspired you to think about how you might be able to take the first couple of steps toward monetizing it. Let me know in the comments below what your hobby is. And as always, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.